Today's topic for discussion is agro-based industry, meaning and classification. Introduction. Agro-based industries, which were once regarded as traditional industries and confined mainly in household or vicinity of village, is now being acknowledged as an important part of contemporary industrialization. It has been invigorating the development process in recent times, mainly with the advent of modern technology and marketing. With the advancement of agro-based industry, agriculture is now being itself treated as an industry as it is highly responsive to market and highly integrated to inter-industrial network. Agro-based industries in recent times have generated unprecedented attention, especially in developing countries, for its prominent role in poverty reduction and employment generation, and its strong linkages with the rest of the economy. To talk about meaning, the term agro-based industry evoked a lot of confusion. It is sometimes synonymously treated as that of agro-industry and agro-processing industry, and some of the experts also try to differentiate these terms. Food and Agriculture Organization, also known as FAO, uses the term agro-industry as a convenient abbreviation of agro-processing industry. According to FAO, I quote, agro-processing industry is a subset of manufacturing that processes raw materials and intermediate products derived from agricultural sector, unquote. A very large part of agricultural production undergoes some degree of transformation between harvesting and final use. It undergoes value addition process. The value adding process ranges from simple preservation and operation closely related to harvesting, such as drying, grading, and storage, to production or manufacture by modern capital-intensive methods of high-value products such as textile products, and rubber products. So, FAO has focused on the forward linkages of the agriculture in capturing the concept of agro-based industry. United Nations Industrial Development Organization, also known as UNIDO, defines agro-industry as those industries which use raw materials from agriculture as main material from which manufactured goods are produced on a commercial scale. The term agriculture also includes fisheries and forestry. The definition given by the Planning Commission of India carries the widest and broadest meaning of agro-based industry. The Planning Commission, with a view to develop agro-industrial corporation, defines agro-industry in certain manner. Its main thrust was to increase agriculture productivity. Its criteria to characterize agro-industry were as follows. A. Encourages greater input into agriculture. B. Leads to better processing and conversion of agricultural commodities. C. Ensures high return on processing of goods. And D. Increases agricultural production. National Council of Applied Economic Research, also known as NCAER, addresses agro-industry as more of an organic link between agriculture and industry. It defines agro-based industries as those which use agricultural raw materials or manufacture products that farmers need for agricultural production. From the various definitions discussed above, it is observed conventionally an agro-based industry is an enterprise that processes agricultural raw materials. However, taking into consideration the emerging technological advancement in agricultural sector and diversification in the field of agro-based activities, it would not be prudent to confine agro-industry solely to the area of agro-processing alone. It would be appropriate to adopt the linkage-based definition, and this is mostly accepted one in the Indian context. Types and classification. Agro-based industries can be classified on the basis of a number of criteria. The criteria may be on the nature of the product, organic link between industry and agriculture, and nature and degree of processing. On the basis of nature of the product, agro-processing industry can be classified into food processing industry and non-food processing industry. The food processing industries are much more homogeneous and are easier to classify since their products have the same end use. Non-food processing industries have a wide variety of end uses. Almost all non-food agriculture products require high degree of processing. In it, there is a definite sequence of operations leading through various intermediate products before reaching to final products. Food and Agriculture Organization has classified agro-processing industries into upstream industries and downstream industries. Upstream industries are those which are engaged in the initial processing of agricultural commodities. Examples are rice and flour milling, leather tanning, cotton ginning, oil pressing, and fish canning. Downstream agro-processing industries undertake further manufacturing operations on intermediate products made from agricultural products. Examples are bread, biscuits and noodle making, textile products, clothing, footwear manufacturing, and rubber products manufacturing. Based on the type of linkages, agro-industries can be of two types. 1. Processing industries, and 2. Supply industries. Processing industries process agricultural produce for their further use, while supply industries are those which produce inputs for agriculture. These agro-industries recognize the complementarities of agriculture and industry, and that output of agriculture serves as the input of industry and vice versa. Thus, they signify the proximity and affinity between agriculture and industry. Processing industries and supply industries are further grouped into two categories, each on the basis of criteria being laid down by Planning Commission of India. To talk about processing industries. 1. Agro-produce processing units. 2. Agro-produce manufacturing units. 1. Agro-produce processing units. These units do not produce anything new, they just process the raw materials so that it can be preserved or transported. Some of the examples are rice mills, dal mills, etc. 2. Agro-produce manufacturing units. These units produce a new product taking agriculture produce as the major raw material. The finished goods are entirely different from the major raw materials. Some of the examples are sugar factories, bakeries, noodle making, etc. To talk about supply industries. 1. Agro-inputs manufacturing units. 2nd. Agro-service centers. Agro-inputs manufacturing units. The industrial units that produce goods for the mechanization of agriculture or to increase the productivity of agriculture come under this category. Agro-service centers. Agro-service centers are workshops and service centers that are involved in repairing and servicing of the inputs used in agriculture like pump sets, power tillers, sprayers, tractors, etc. These classifications are broad categorization and have to be segregated for policy and practical purposes in order to address the technical and operational needs for data documentation and analysis at the international level. United Nations published International Standard Industrial Classification of all economic activities. The operational and official categorization in India is carried out by National Industrial Classification, also known as NIC. The classifications are adopted from ISIC and can be categorized under 6 broad categories and their subcategories. 1. Manufacture and processing of food products and beverages, which has its subcategories as given below. A. Processing and preserving of meat. B. Processing and preserving of fish. C. Processing and preserving of fruit and vegetables. D. Manufacture of vegetable and animal oils and fats. E. Manufacture of dairy products. F. Manufacture of grain mills products, starches and starch products. G. Manufacture of other food products. H. Manufacture of prepared animal feeds. I. Manufacture of beverages. In the second category, we can talk about manufacture of tobacco products. Number 3. Manufacture of textiles and its subcategories are A. Spinning, weaving and finishing of textiles. B. Manufacture of other textiles. C. Manufacture of wearing apparel except fur apparel. D. Manufacture of articles of fur. E. Manufacture of knitted and crocheted apparel. 4. Manufacture of leather products. 5. Manufacture of wood products and its subcategories are A. Sawmilling and planing of wood. B. Manufacture of products of wood, cork, straw and plating materials. In the category 6, we can talk about manufacture of paper and paper products, which has the following subcategories. A. Manufacture of pulp, paper and paperboard. B. Manufacture of corrugated paper and paperboard and containers of paper and paperboard. C. Manufacture of other articles of paper and paperboard. We will now talk about importance of agro-based industries. Agro-based industries have been playing a critical role in economic transformation of rural economy in particular and the entire economy in general. Its importance and contribution to the society and economy has increased manifold with the fast-changing technology and economic environment of the world. Some of the importances of agro-based industries are: 1. Increases agricultural efficiency. 2. Expansion of employment opportunities. Number 3, poverty reduction. Number 4, brings dynamism in the economy. And number 5, varieties to the consumer. 1. Increases agricultural efficiency. The development of agro-based industries has many benefits to agriculture itself. The most direct one is the impetus it provides for agricultural production through market expansion. The lack of development in agro-based industry has resulted in wastages of agriculture product as well as low incentive in the part of the farmers to produce more with the spread of agro-based industry. Farmers are now more integrated to the market economy and reaping the dividend of their produce. Secondly, expansion of employment opportunities. Agro-based industries helps in generating employment and sustaining livelihoods to a large section of rural population, as majority of activities involved in agro-based industries are confined in rural areas. It increases employment opportunities for different types of skills through food processing, packaging, grading, and distribution. Thirdly, poverty reduction. Agro-based industries helps in expanding economic activities and generating additional income. They provide a strong base and alternative option for creation of additional employment opportunities and avenues of income for rural households owning very small size of cultivable land and landless laborers within the rural areas itself. Further, it helps in reduction in the rate of distress-led rural-urban migration of population. Fourthly, brings dynamism in the economy. The strengthening of agro-based industries generate a strong forward and backward linkages in the economy, which makes the economy more dynamic. It helps the farmers in carrying out commercialization and diversification of agriculture with ease. It also strengthens the vertical and horizontal, backward and forward linkages among the farmers, processors and R&D organizations to improve economic efficiency and realize the economies of scale. Fifthly, varieties to the consumer. With the increasing and diverse demand from consumers, agro-based industry is giving new varieties, new products, quality and value-added products to the consumers. It is giving a menu of choices to the ever-increasing consumer demands and choices. The gradual expansion of agro-based industries not only serves the domestic consumer but also international consumers. Agro-based industries are becoming more important for the economies of the developing countries. They are fostering a strong link between production and marketing, between rural and urban areas, between owners of capital and labor, and between producers and consumers of industrial and agricultural products. These have resulted in a new defining role of agriculture, which has benefited a large section of population who are engaged directly or indirectly in agriculture. Thank you.